Hey there, it's Perry with PapercraftingThreads. Thanks for joining me. Today, I have lots of watercolor tips and techniques and a Z Fun Fold card that you'll flip over. So let's get started. Start off with a little bit of watercoloring. I'm using crumb cake for my ink. And I'm actually going to make 2 cards. So I'm going to stamp multiple times here. As long as I have it out, might as well do 2. Just love these images from this Cute as a Bug stamp set. Put this away before I stick my fingers in it. And this is my little palette here for testing my colors. And I'm going to start with my little caterpillar here and use Calypso Coral, Petal Pink, and Pumpkin Pie. I have my glass block here. So there's the Petal Pink, Calypso Coral, Pumpkin Pie, and I know I'm also going to use some Cajun Craze for the mushrooms. Put some of that on here now too. And I'm using my old water painter here. I can't find my new ones. And get some of this Petal Pink here. Double check it. Yep, that's how pale I want it. And just start filling in. Okay, then I'm going to add some of this orange. Get some water on here, because I do not want it solid. Put some water on here. Whoops, that's way too much. That's more what I want. Drop some of that in here. Sop up some of this water. Try to get some more Petal Pink here. Too dark. I can even sop up some of that with my paper towel. There, that looks good. And then for the little feet and arms and the antenna, and I'm not sure what little tail, I know it's not a tail, but I'm not sure what it's called. I want to use, I think I want to use this, but not wet. Yeah, so I'm using this in here, but keeping it very controlled. So I have my brush as dry as I can get it. And doing the little feet and hands. Oh, I should have let that dry more because it's bleeding into that one. So let me just sop that up a little bit with the water. And again, dry my brush as much as I possibly can. Get that tip kind of pointed. Pick up some color. Clean my brush off good. And then the mushrooms over here. I'm not coloring that third one in on the side there. I want the underside to be really pale. And then I want very watered down for this of the stem, but I need to control the water a bit. Like that. And then I want some of this Cajun craze. Squeezing some water down in there. And do the cap. That's too light. There we go. Too much water there. That's okay that it bled down in there. Looks kind of cool. And then let me soak up some of this water. If you don't want that to bleed down in there, you would need to dry it with your heat tool first. That would be a little bit darker. And then to do that tiny one. And then using some greens, I have Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, and Soft Seafoam. And I'm starting with the Soft Seafoam. I want to do where the flower connects to the stem. I want just a hint of color on here. And then using some of the Old Olive, a little more watery, more like that. Painting in my leaves. And then picking up some of this. More watery, so squeeze some more water, not quite that much. And going from the base, just dropping some in there. Just so it's not flat looking. Like that. Going back to the Old Olive. Picking some of that and just filling in this big leaf. And then picking up some here. And then following the veining. And this curled leaf. A little more water in here than what I wanted, but it'll look cool. Like that. And then again, picking this up from here. And now this should be completely dry here. And then I'm going to dry my brush off as much as I can. Get that a nice point. And then pick up the dark. Double check it, yep. And then draw that stem in back. And I have the black Stampin' Write marker. You can use any type of waterproof black marker. Once this is dry, and giving his face. I have a strip of Cajun Craze. Stamping Love You Lots in Versamark ink. And using white embossing powder. And heat setting that. And then I have a scrap of the Natural Hues paper, which is like handmade paper, loads of texture in this. Decide which side you want to be the front. It's about textured the same on both sides, so it really doesn't matter. I have a piece of basic white cardstock that measures 2.5 by 5.5. I have pieces of the designer series paper from the Cute as a Bug, and I just love these little bugs. This side is 2.5 by 5.5, and this piece is 1 5/8 by 5.5. And they do make a scene when put together. It's not totally necessary, but that's how I'm doing mine. And then I have my cardstock base, which is Mossy Meadow, measuring 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm scoring it on the long side at 4 1/4. And 1 1/2. Okay, so this 1 1/2 side is the front of the card. So I'm going to fold it like this just so I know that this is the front of the card. Then I'm putting this into my trimmer. And on this side, which is the bottom of the card, I'm moving it over to 1 inch over here. And then pulling my blade down to 1 1/2, which is right there, or which is where that score line is. It's actually right down here. So it's cut from 1 inch this way, 1 1/2 that way. And doing the same thing, which this is the top of the card. So setting it at 1 inch on this side. And again, pulling it down to the 1 1/2 inch, or where that score line is. So now I have these two flaps like that. And those I'm going to trim off. So now the front looks like this. So bring that over here, give that a good burnish. And this I'm going to fold backwards. So this is what it looks like so far. Then I'm taking my pieces here and using the narrow piece first. Whoops. Lining this up at the bottom as well as the side. And the top. Then taking the white and this one I'm butting it up. So it's flush here, but there's a space over there. Then this one, apply the adhesive. This one is going here, and it's going to be aligned with the bottom, but have equal space on both sides, like that. This piece is going on top of this. I'm switching over to my liquid glue. And the goal here is just to cover this piece so it's hidden. And I'm only going to have this peek over about 1/4 of an inch off of that flap, but have it kind of be centered from here to here. And now that's how that looks. But this one here, applying glue to everything but the back of this one over here. So no glue on that one because it's going to hang off the edge a bit. And then my caterpillar, I'm going to trim this down. I didn't have my die set right where I should have had it or where I wanted it. Trim off some of this excess white. And same thing here on this. Much better. Putting dimensionals on the leaf around his bum and staying on the left side of the head. So I'll remove my backings. I want the feet to hang off a little bit as well as the little nose. And then on my shrooms, I'm going to cut around here, remove that one that's on the edge. And then also cut fairly close to the tops and the stem. And just reducing that white, if not getting rid of all of it. Like that. And then using a mini dimensional, remove the backing. I'm putting this like that. And then with my sentiment, do some surgery on here, cutting my words apart, as well as cutting off any excess paper. Cutting this really close to the words. And then gluing these words on. And then last but not least, adding some raindrops. And there you have it, an adorable, cute as a bug, flip flap card.
Find written instructions over on my blog at. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching. Bye.